Rolling.
We're in incognito mode. It's fine. Look, there's faces.
All right. There's some faces to go with those titties.
Yeah.
But
is it weird to you that they're all dead? Why am I laughing?
Well, yeah, it was. It was when I stumbled across Violet Myers recently.
Yeah. So this.
And there's no information about her death, so it was probably.
This is how we all got started, right? One thing led to another. Random comments about names.
Well, all right. So this whole thing started when I was looking up Mia Khalifa.
Okay.
Because I had heard something about Mia Khalifa possibly being back, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So I hop on, and I don't think I found any new material, but there was some side by side with Mia versus Violet, and I was like, oh, okay. So they're both Middle Eastern women, right?
Did you get into Middle Eastern women recently because you were living with Safe?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That's funny.
Just wasn't sure if that's where that came from.
No.
Suddenly.
No.
Oh, okay.
But do not spit whatever you're drinking.
I'm not. It's just water.
All over the electronics.
Nope.
So the first thing I find out, though, is that she's dead. And then I go, do I proceed? I proceeded.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, that's a really good question.
I felt like I should honor her work.
Yeah. So it's not in vain, right? Because you didn't know how she died or like what the cause of death was at that point, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think anybody knows.
Oh, still to this, it's a mystery.
She's not on this list of other women that we have here.
Well, then we decided we needed to talk about this because suddenly it was becoming epidemic when the Catch a Sky podcast Insta and Twitter put out a rando question about months and names, and I had to remind you all of August Ames. August Ames. She's
so
Canadian.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
And she's dead. She was like 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah, she killed herself near her home.
She did.
So there's some that have either taken their life as a result of trolling or being bullied, online harassment, whatever, all this slut shaming, I guess. And then there's others that have died from sepsis, from UTIs, and
like the physical trauma. Yeah. So
overdoses.
We started talking about, which all of this seems like, well, I feel like societally we'd be like, duh, porn stars are dirty and, sex workers, of course you're dying of all kinds of things. But I wanted to kind of explore why. Why should sex workers be dying of suicide? Why are they being harassed the way that they are? Why is that becoming epidemic, especially of these young men and women? What do you think?
It just bothers me because there's so much porn consumption and these people are more famous than we give them credit for. A lot of them, they're more recognizable than people are willing to admit. And yet they're struggling to carve out a living here or feel human at all. I guess it definitely makes having a normal relationship hard. I always wondered how, and I feel like they always end up just being with somebody that's in the industry.
Yeah,
right?
You see that a lot, right? And that has to probably be really hard. I guess we could challenge ourselves with that question of, could you have a partner as a non-sex worker? I know I tried to entice you to, sell yourself to make some money to stay in Arizona, but
yeah, see,
you chose not to go the sex worker route. I don't know why. No shame in the game.
Because apparently there's a high death rate. There's a higher death rate than I was expecting.
Upon further investigation, it wasn't looking good.
Yeah, my odds of survival are great.
It was bad. But okay, so do you think you could be in a relationship with a porn star? Like your female partner was one and you're not?
If any of our listeners care to answer this question, they may comment on our Facebook page or Instagram by searching for the Catch the Sky podcast. They can also interact with Dick on Instagram by searching for the Dick Francisco, or on Twitter at I'm Dick Francisco. I've hooked up with a girl that did some OnlyFans stuff.
Okay.
So her and Frank were coworkers, I guess.
Right, basically working for the same employer.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Frank does not yet have an OnlyFans.
That's true, but he's thought about it.
Yeah.
Long and hard for sure.
Well, when I see him go to work on that jar of peanut butter, it's just like...
It's begging to be content on OnlyFans. Yeah, no, I feel like it would be a typical Dick Francisco thing of me to say, to be like, oh yeah, I'm super open to that if my partner was a porn star. Or a porn actor. I guess you don't have to be a star, right? Just you could be a sex worker of some sort, but
yeah, you could be like a D-list porn.
It's true, and we can't call you a star then, can we? Yeah, and so I don't know. That's such an interesting one. I guess maybe the idea of it being work and a job takes out potentially the issues, because you think about it, like the porn industry at least is supposed to be safe. It's clearly not, because you can see how many porn stars are dying of health realities. So I guess it's not that regulated and that healthy.
Well,
because that's always been my thing, right? My biggest thing is jeopardizing my own health.
It was what was it? What were we watching? The Deuce.
The Deuce. That's right. Yeah, you guys got into that.
They're negotiating like gangbangs and how many dicks were sucked and all this stuff. And it's just like, well, this takes a lot of the fun out of it for me, right? Right.
Yeah. But I think that's part of it is then if you're the partner to somebody who just goes to work and does that, that seems like arguably I think I could get past. Like, I don't know if I would have anything to get past on the sexual side. I think my issue would continually be is it jeopardizing my health to be with somebody that's working in that industry? That actually, I think, is what happened to August Ames and why she was bullied. She had refused to do a sex scene with an actor that had done gay porn as well. And this is a stigma that happens in the industry for actors.
Crossovers.
Yeah, specifically those guys. And she refused to do it, and then had maybe put something out on social media or something talking about how, she had refused to do it and that, people should ask those questions. And even, I don't know how she said it, and apparently it was offensive. And so some folks definitely jumped on her, calling her either homophobic or otherwise. And it was shortly after that she took her life. But, when you think about it, what mental strife must she have been under in the industry to have that be the trigger point? Seems kind of crazy to me. So I guess instead of thinking about would I be okay with having a partner that is, in the porn industry, it makes me question, would I want anyone to be in the porn industry that, is going to struggle like that? Which is why I always plug Bellessa, because in my beautiful world, they're all just happy. They might not be, but in my head, I have this belief system that all of the people that are participating in Bellessa porn want to be there, and they're just super happy. Right? That's what they tell me.
Hope so.
It's not Pornhub, so.
I've been all over the place this past couple of weeks.
I imagine.
I've been watching a lot of affairs being caught porn, like getting caught.
Porn.
Well, yeah, but specifically getting busted in.
So I love that. I love that theme, right? That's got to be a pretty taboo one, I bet, right?
Oh, it's fun for some people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fun for everyone. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think everyone can get into the scandalous nature of that. I think scandal is
This is pretty much
attractive.
The only reason that I find marriage enticing at this point. Not for me, but for other people, so that I can be the disruptor.
Okay. The homewrecker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can see that though. Like,
because I don't actually want to get married because this is stupid. Because
nobody needs to get married. No.
Nobody needs to get married.
But I feel you on the scandal side of it. I think there's this book, maybe I've mentioned it before, called Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. And the whole idea of this book is and she's like a sex therapist, psychologist. And what the whole idea of this book is this notion that we are more sexually attracted to, again, that risk, those things that are dangerous, those things that, the more commonplace things become, the more, comfortable things become, the less sexually attractive they are. This is why when people get married and then have kids and then routines and, time passes that, it's not as sexually enticing. It's why all of those scenarios in porn are doing it for us, which is why I get really sad for the porn actors then, because like you said, behind the scenes, they're just freaking jockeying for whether that's going to be a gangbang or not today. Ouch. Yikes. But for us, it's great. I'm like, ooh, more of those affair scenes. Can the husband bust in and join in too? Is that how it usually happens? Does it usually become a threesome at that point?
Oh, no. I've been going for a lot of more like amateur stuff. So these are like real affairs.
I needed that caveat that we were talking real ones. So how are those turning out? Shit.
Oh, there's usually there's lots of screaming involved. Somebody always grabs a pillow to cover their dick.
Okay.
Immediately.
So does anyone finish in those? Because I don't know if I could get into that because I'm all about the finish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's rarely a finish.
Oh, that is my worst nightmare then. Okay, I'll have to stay away from amateur real scenario live action. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll stay away from those then.
There's ones where
there's
ones where it's not caught, but like the husband set up a spy cam and then
shit.
It's like, bitch, I'm gonna get you.
See, so we were just talking about that, right? This whole notion of men and women and our differences of, this is where we turn this into a true crime mystery podcast that the bitches love, me included, because we can solve a mystery. We are so good at it. What do you think that is? Why do you think we as women can sniff out a good mystery, but like men struggle with it and then they have to go to these great lengths to try to figure it out, and women are always one step ahead?
I know shit's going down. I've just been stupid enough to be giving the women in my life the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I actually think you're absolutely right. I don't even think it's that you guys aren't smart enough. It's just the like, I'm just going to hope for the best.
Well, because this comes back to this is where it all comes full circle.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I saw this line the other day. Hang on.
Okay, he's got to look it up.
Yep.
Stand by.
I got it.
Okay, what is it?
Women fuck who they want. Men fuck who they can.
Ah, yes. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Yep. That's why I think you guys get more emotionally wrapped up in it, because I think the stakes appear higher to you.
Yeah, you know how much work we got to put into this?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for sure.
Women, all a woman has to do is flash a tit, and then she can get whoever she wants. Show a little bit of ass.
That's it. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. And that's where
these gray sweatpants only get me so far.
I do love the lady pants too.
They only get me so far, right?
I was going to ask you about your recent engagement in the lady pants and if it worked for you.
I can't just walk her out in those and just expect to be sexualized immediately and have somebody ask me, "Hey, you want to fuck?"
Right?
It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
I think that's where we as women take it for granted then, and that's why we're willing to raise the red flag and, call out our partners for even an inkling of scandal. And yet men, I feel like it's just not in your value proposition to do that, because you're like, I'll let a little bit of that slide because she's the best I'm going to get.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to settle even if she's fucking around. Yeah.
But then when you do find out, then you get all pissed off
because then
you got an uncle fucker.
Well, that's the ego though, because now that it's in your face, like this porn you're watching.
Yeah.
Now you can't pretend you didn't know it was happening. Like if you walk in on it as the dude, now you have to respond and be, macho about it and be like, nobody's going to fuck around on me. But like, did you not kind of know a little bit? And you were like, no, I was just pretending I didn't. Because
I've lived all this.
I know. This is your life.
It's horrible.
I feel bad about that for you.
So, like, I just don't understand why people have to go and take it the extra step to talk shit to people that they never have had any like real engagement or physical connection with, right?
Absolutely.
If it's a person that you've never met and you've watched in porn, like you've never met this person.
Right. And can we not have a little empathy for, again, the hard work that they are doing? Like, really, like, if you're watching it or you're even aware of who this person is, then it means you're some level of, you're at some level of consuming the product. And so at what point do you acknowledge your consumption of it and like chill the fuck out on the people who are doing it? It's hard fucking work. Like, trying to take care of yourself within that industry, as we just talked about, sounds pretty hard. So like, chill out on the judgment, y'all. Damn.
Well, they're just pissed that it's not them. It's all pure jealousy.
Well, that's what I think is interesting too. Like, is it really though? Because then as soon as you proposition somebody with like, okay, you could be a sex worker too. You could be a porn star. Like, everyone says it sounds like fun and games until, it's suggesting it's like, oh, I would never do that. That's, again, that's below me. That's beneath me. That's dirty work. I don't know. I was having this conversation
with
treat
Uber drivers the same.
Yeah, you're
subhuman.
There's all these subhuman categories of legitimate employment that we're all benefiting from. Jack Torso and I were having this conversation because we were commenting on that difference between men and women and being seen as attractive, and that it becomes really subjective when you're a guy. Because I think you and I have talked about this too, T, where you're, where you feel undesirable, and how much more difficult perceivably it can be for you guys as men versus as women. Just this notion of constantly being sexualized. Back to your quote of the concept of just being enough for a guy to get, right? Versus women being so particular and like being capable of like being so particular if we want to.
Yeah, you can choose whatever you want.
Yeah. And as funny as that is, then I start looking at how subjective we are as women, and like the very minor like differences of like, I can sit in a room with a bunch of females and we will all have completely different ideas of what is attractive in a man. Oh, but walk another woman into that room and 100% we're all going to tell you if she's, ugly or pretty. And we'll all agree too. It's the weirdest thing. But as soon as you start putting men in front of us, we all have like, maybe I'm into that. Maybe I'm not into that. It's very strange. I struggle for you guys because you just want the same thing we all want, is that notion of being desirable. Like you said, like,
yeah,
we're intended to be, and sexually attractive. And
yeah, like I know that girls like fucking getting down.
Yeah.
I know that women like getting down.
Yes. Girls and women. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more into women these days.
I'm proud of you for that
episode.
I'm proud of you for that. Yeah, and so I guess I bring that back then to the like the porn industry. And I think I was learning, at least I know when it comes to strippers specifically and just sex workers in general, it's another one of those dominated fields where on the side of who's calling the shots is generally probably really male dominated. That's why Bellessa came out, with porn by women for women kind of thing. What is it? The FUBU of porn for women. But I think with men, in that industry as actual actors, you guys are also paid less. So you guys don't make nearly as much in those industries, in the sex industries, as women do. Women are just, same with modeling.
It's
crazy.
I have no idea who it was. I'm sure we could do some research here, but this was a long time ago. I remember this. Seeing an article where some sex educator, philosopher, whatever, therapist, I don't know what she was.
Yeah.
Was talking about who's being more sexualized in the money shots.
Oh.
Or not, maybe not sexualized, but the word I'm looking for, subjugated.
Yeah, I guess, because I was thinking victimized, but like, I guess victim is a little bit of a strong word in that. But
no, but who's getting
subordinate?
Who's getting the short end of the stick in that scene?
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, obviously this woman that's getting jizz all over her face, right? Well, this woman's also got mental staying power, whereas this dude, you don't know who this dude is. You know, that's just a dick. That's just a living penis. That's all you know about this guy.
Right.
You're not going to remember his face.
Yep.
So in all honesty, the part that is being watched most, this dude has no, like I said, no staying power in your mind.
Right. Well, and I think even when we start talking about stigmas on sex workers, probably far less of one for male sex workers. I think once you start getting into the like gay porn and things like that, obviously you start to see a little bit more of the stigmas that kind of mirror society. But otherwise, a guy who just has, you know, who's a porn star who has sex with a bunch of fucking women for money as a job. Are you kidding me? That's fucking awesome, right? I don't think I know a guy who hasn't told me that there's some level of fantasy to do that.
But why can't women do that?
I know. And then we want to do that, or we do that. Because I can say, like, we've talked about this before, as a hypersexual, like the concept of it is
well, I guess you can do
fucking
it,
awesome.
but then you're a slut.
But then, yeah, but then there comes all of that reality of how I'm perceived societally, the doors that might close because of it. And, you know, like you said, my face is going to be the one that's remembered because that's how porn is shot. It's making sure that, you know, the female's face is shown. This is, again, I know I'll keep plugging Bellessa, but that was something that was really interesting about their porn, was that you would definitely see male and female faces. You would see both a man and a woman, you know, climaxing in shots. And, you know, it was, you didn't always see that in porn, because why would a dude who is the predominant audience want to see another dude's face? You don't want to see his face. And
yeah,
so,
because you want it to be you.
Yeah, that's absolutely
You're supposed
it.
to be able to plug yourself in.
Right. And I think in general, women watch porn differently. And so more from that voyeuristic standpoint of being able to appreciate these two people getting pleasure, it's, you know, you guys definitely put yourselves in the position. Like,
this is why VR porn is the thing.
Oh, so yeah, exactly. And I will be super curious with VR porn to see that demographic breakdown of if it catches on equally with women. Because I think immediately people would say, well, it's in that video game realm. And so, you know, already that's more male dominated than female dominated. But I'm curious because I don't know if we appreciate consumption of sexual content the same way that men do. I don't know. I think we're more pervy on that voyeuristic side.
Yeah.
Or that's just me.
Well, you definitely have limited options compared to what guys have, right?
True.
So, and yeah. I feel like most women that don't normally delve into this, they just hop on there and they just go with whatever they're presented with first, probably.
Yeah, that would be my guess. You've
never really been into it before, right?
But then I think, what is that's then getting you sexually aroused? And it's usually just the concept of, or the thought of sex, versus like getting into particular types of content, right? Like going like, oh, today. It takes a while to get into the flavors. Yeah, for sure. And I think there's also that whole stigma to women that you're even allowed to do that. Like there's probably the barrier for so many that like already like, oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I'm over here like, oh my God, here's the flavor I'm in today, right? Let me tell you about my flavor. Yeah. Oh God. I've only had one or two that were even cool with watching porn with me. Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. The rest are like, no, we don't do that. And I'm like, come the fuck on. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I feel like it would be weird if like we came with I only watch dead porn, like Pornstar porn, but like. That would definitely be a weird niche. I kind of want to get into it. But that could be a lot of vintage stuff, right? I know, that's true. That was part of my kind of step back from the vintage stuff, was because I learned too much about all these folks. They either had AIDS, they were dead, they had cancer, they were dead. And it really wasn't doing it for me. Mm. Well, what do you think the future of all these women that we're watching now is? This is why I'm trying to tell myself that Bellessa is better. And that it is not their future, that they are just happy, healthy, functional women who could do anything in the world. And they chose to have sex for pleasure all day long on camera. Yep, that's what I tell myself.
You don't think they have a side hustle at any of the other places?
Yeah, no, in all honesty, I'm sure they do. Who's the male actor I've been into? Damon Dice. Okay. So his whole thing is like, he's the guy that would be like overly conscious of like a woman's needs kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so like as a female, you're like, oh, I'm super into that. But I'm like, there is no way that this guy, and I'm not going and looking, but I could right now, I suppose, looking that there's no way this guy is exclusive to, this polite, consensual porn. Like, there's no way. And like, would it ruin it for me if I went and watched like a freaking like horrible gangbang scene with him just like reaming some chick who's definitely not enjoying it? And I'm like, fuck, yeah, it probably would ruin it for me. So I'm like, just keep my blinders on. Because there's no way that guy's making a living off of doing polite porn. There's just no way. Because like polite porn can't pay. Pretty sure.
It's not paying for me, that's for sure. Taking the polite approach hasn't been working for me lately.
Hold on. You all get your porn for free though, right?
Yes.
You ain't paying for your porn. See, I pay for my porn. So maybe I am paying Damon Dice to just do polite porn. Sorry, we got distracted by this video.
This is the biggest.
This game is
the biggest travesty with the porn industry is how this shit just gets, can get spread so quickly, and then how are they supposed to regulate this so that these people are actually getting the money that's entitled to them? That's another problem, right?
Yeah, I do want to know about.
They're getting owned in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. I really should write me a letter to Bellessa. Dear Bellessa, tell me about your business model and how it actually is working behind the scenes. Because I would be interested to know, because I've watched plenty of documentaries that are out there about the porn industry and how unfair all of that is, and how people aren't getting paid and aren't treated well. And back to what you pointed out on, having to.
Well, I mean, have you seen like the memes and the jokes about how little artists get paid via Spotify and things like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are...
And this is even worse than that.
Yeah. This is music, and these are major players.
But then you think about it, isn't that really where OnlyFans kind of spawned from? Was this ability for sex workers specifically to take their work into their own hands? As much as there's still a piece that OnlyFans gets, they still get to control their content, how they, present themselves, how they interact with people, where they make their money off of what they do. I guess that was the purpose, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Hulu has a good special on OnlyFans. I learned everything I needed to know. And it made me hate that chick. What's her name?
Wasn't there a chick that started an OnlyFans just to fuck with people?
Yeah. And it made you hate her. Because she started taking away all the Bella Thorne, all of the attention from the sex workers who were doing their thing, and she wouldn't even take her clothes off. So, you know how you and I love a good tease, T. Well, Bella Thorne was the ultimate tease, making millions and taking away all the viewership from the real hardworking sex workers on OnlyFans. Dang. But I guess none of this answers my question that I don't think we can answer, which is why it's so stigmatized. Speaking of astigmatism, how are your eyes, T?
They're doing all right.
Yeah. All right enough to see all those dead porn stars you're watching.
Yeah. They told me I was 20, 25 or whatever.
Hey, that is a question I have
20.
for you. Has it made porn viewing more enjoyable for you, not having to wear your glasses?
It would be nice to be able to just bang freely without having to wear glasses or contacts or anything. That'd be cool.
Oh, I was going to say,
what do you mean?
I was going to say, what do you mean? But you haven't gotten to do that yet.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's great. That'd be super fucking
I'm
cool.
so excited for you when that finally happens.
Because you realize that if I've been wearing glasses in the past and I go to have sex, I have to take my
glasses. You
glasses.
have to take them off, yeah.
So then I can't see.
I'm aware, yeah.
Or I have contacts in, and that's not such a huge deal.
Yeah.
But if you do, I tend to usually fall asleep with them in afterwards.
Yeah.
Or if things are getting real sweaty or whatever. or yeah.
On account of those contacts. Yeah, no, I hadn't.
Burns, you rub your eye, you knock contact out. Now, boom, back to being blind.
Now you're blind again, right? So now you're like Ray Charles, just trying to feel her wrist to see what you're working with, to see, oh, yep, you got small wrists. You must be pretty. I'll bang you. Yeah. Huh. Okay, well, I'm excited about that moment for you when it happens.
Yeah, we're on a horrible trajectory at this point, but...
It's just called a dry spell.
We'll keep you posted, people. If there's any listeners out there.
Trying to stay hydrated over here while having this conversation. It's very difficult.
Right. Oh, my God.
Either way, yes, I would like continual updates on that of when you finally get to bang for the first time without corrective lenses of any kind.
Going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But the stigmatization, is that the word?
We're going with it. It's a stigmatization.
It just comes from that jealousy, that toxic jealousy that comes from not having what you want. These are just big temper tantrums, adult temper tantrums.
Frail egos.
Yeah.
Very frail egos. Yeah. This comes to a topic I want us to cover at some point about insecurities.
Well, I think I'd be fine with this. See, yeah, I don't know. Back to your original question is if I'd be fine with somebody like my partner doing this, right?
Yeah. And I'm not saying that being able to have a relationship like that, just like we've talked about open relationships on here before, doesn't take so much communication and so much. It's like a lot of work. Like it's a whole lot of work that I think is necessary work in a relationship if it's a healthy one in general. But adding that element to it is so much work that you have to be willing to admit when you're having those moments of insecurities. Jealousy is an insecurity. It absolutely is.
I guess just what level of intimacy do you and that person have between the two of you at that point if you know that they're doing stuff like that to make their money?
Well, I guess that's where we have to suggest that do things in and of themselves have to be exclusive to us in order to be like the act itself. Does it have to be exclusive for the experience that we're having to be exclusive to us? So I know that sounds confusing, but I've said this to people before that if I have a relationship with you, like T, the relationship I have with you is exclusive to you and me. Like I don't care that I could do this with literally anybody else. My experience with you is 100% our experience. And I cherish that. Like that's super important to me. And, sorry, everybody, nobody gets to touch that. You could try, but this is ours, right? Like no different than my relationship with Safe, my relationship with Jack Torso, all of those. And so if there's things that we're all doing with each other, this got weird because we're not doing that. We're non-sexual, everyone. But
let me get the peanut butter.
Like, for instance, like when I go hiking with you, right, is my experience with you, and I can hike with Safe, and it's my experience with him, and I can hike with Jack Torso, and it's my experience with him, that those things are exclusive to those people. And so I think you still have the ability in an intimate relationship to maintain that exclusivity, even if the act itself is something that you do with somebody else. That's the answer. Now, whether we emotionally can actually handle that, well, that's another question. So far, you all have handled it well, each one of you hiking with me separately. So everyone seems to be fine.
I think it would make it difficult.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, because I think, I'm even guilty of it when I'm at my worst, like when I'm feeling insecure or feeling down, or we talked about depression, right? When I'm not at my best, I can definitely get into that mode of wanting ownership of or dependency of things that I don't want shared with other people. You know, whether it's time, whether it's, or even like that, Safe's covered this before of being the first. Well, like, do that with me first, and then you can do it with anybody else kind of thing. And, you know, where does that come from? Well, 100% that comes from insecurities. And I don't think insecurities are bad. I think we just need to acknowledge them and not operate from them always, right? Because okay, we're doing that. But I don't think it's unfair to acknowledge what we feel. Right? Either way, we have to do an episode about insecurities.
Yeah, my head is just, there's so many things going through my head.
Yeah, there probably are.
Because, oh God. It's got to be so difficult to have a relationship in that aspect. Because what, like, for example, what do you do with your significant other that builds intimacy when you're plowing other people during 9 to 5?
Yeah, it's arguably harder, right? Like it's more of a challenge. You have to work harder at it, right? To make that feel, I guess, special. I don't know. I think
like, how do you even go out in public without somebody recognizing you?
Oh, for sure. And then I guess we just have to acknowledge that the tenets of a relationship aren't purely based in sex, right? That there's so much more, hopefully.
Yeah, but like, how do you go to the zoo and like know that? Like,
I love that it's the zoo we're going to.
The train conductor hasn't like jerked off several times to your woman. He's not going to come over and like try and grab a tit.
And that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, I hope he's not just trying to grab her tit. He's jerked off to her. I mean, like
on the train.
I would hope we've all learned.
So this is where we find ourselves, is copping a tit
by the train conductor at the zoo.
Yeah,
I don't know what kind of zoos you're hanging out at, but let me know.
I mean, have you seen the guys that are conducting the train?
I have actually.
We should put it past them.
No, I agree. No, it's a really interesting point though about, you know, would we like, okay, take being a porn star out of it and suggest that you're walking around with just a really, you know, to you attractive female. Say your girlfriend is attractive, right? Mm-hmm. And I could do the same of, say my partner is attractive. My partner is attractive. And qualifying statement. And if I know, or I think, or I can assume that other people have, you know, gotten pleasure from the thought of my partner, like, should that be a bad thing to me?
Well, see, then it depends, because it's like,
are we worried what they're going to do about that?
I like having the attractive. So for example, one time I was at Red Lobster and the uncle fucker came in and she was sitting at a table by herself, and this dude comes in and he's like, bro. Yeah. He's like, you need to see this girl that just sat down over at this table. And I came out and I came back in and I was like, bruh. Like I'm plowing that girl.
Right. Totally. So then that in that moment, okay, you know, because that's part of that ego too. Like it's qualifying to us to say, okay, I'm with somebody who's physically attractive that other people have acknowledged and, you know, validated. So like, yeah, that hot one is, you know, my partner kind of thing. Okay, cool. But then as you take it a step further in your head of like, oh, okay, and then they got off to the thought of him or her. Okay. Where does that, because that's no different than a porn star in that respect. I mean, the same concept. Where do we get to that? Like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with the fact that everybody in this room wants to bang my girlfriend kind of thing.
Yeah, because then we're just monkeys having an orgy at that point.
Right.
And I'm like, can we...
I just think wherever that switch hits for men in particular is always really funny to me. Where at first it's okay and it's a qualifier and it's, you know, winning, I've got the hot girlfriend, and all of a sudden we're at the, oh, okay, we're in a room, all these dudes want to fucking bang her, and no, we're leaving.
Going home.
We're going home. Christmas is over.
Christmas has canceled.
God, seriously. Yeah, and I get it though. I think we just have to acknowledge we're freaking human, and we've got a lot going on inside these brains of ours, and chemical functions and such that we got to work through them. It's so funny to me. So I still don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, for me, the pipe dream that I have.
Laying that pipe dream.
The pipe dream that I have is that I could be with somebody and we could potentially be in a room and there could be all sorts of other people that want to fuck. And we could have some sort of signal between the two of us.
Oh, okay.
And then I could just be like, my response signal would be, there would be 3 responses.
Okay. You haven't thought about this at all.
I just came up with this.
Okay. This is on the fly. Okay.
Well, the ideal scenario, but this part of it, this part of it is unique to just now. I'm just having this thought now. The 3 responses would be no.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, but you have to use protection.
Oh, okay.
Which probably should be most of the time. That should be the response most of the time. Right. Right.
Yeah, because in the end, that's where I ultimately, like, even if I can get past, all of the other elements of the sex can just be sex for pleasure, and I can acknowledge that and appreciate that and engage in that and be okay with that, like, and not even okay, like super excited and supportive of that health piece of it to me is still the, like, don't jeopardize my health though, man.
Right.
That's the hardest part for me to get over.
Oh yeah, I can relate. I've been in that circumstance.
You really have to watch that show Sex Life that Jack Torso was mentioning to you. It's on Netflix. It's really terrible. It's so bad. The show's so bad, but that scenario happens there too, where they walk into the room and they've got like a signal. So I was like, I swear you're living this life. T.
I want to be living this life.
Minus the sex part.
Yeah, I want to be living this life.
Yeah, so you're just life.
Yeah, life.
You'll get to sex life eventually, but
I don't think anybody would watch a show just called Life.
Life. But like with like, sex scratched out.
Yeah, they'd be like, is this like the board game?
Yeah. But you have to scratch out sex where you could read it, but it's not happening. So like people like, oh, this is going to be boring. So you're telling me up front, you're telling me up front there's going to be no sex. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Right, just a lot of dinner dates and friendly chatter and scandalous
campfires.
But no sex.
But no sex.
Well, until next time, T. So yeah, keep us updated on when you finally get to have full functioning, visible sex.
Yeah, I'll come on here and I'll be blasting the song by The Lonely Island and everything. That'll be how we start the show.
All right, you heard it here. You'll know when it's happened. Right?
We're going to have to put it on the soundboard.
Oh yeah, it's getting loaded in for the moment when it happens. One touch. Mm-hmm. Well, for your sake, I hope it happens soon because I completely relate and understand.
And you can't handle this anymore.
I can't handle it for you.
Exactly. I can't listen to this complaining anymore.
But like, I feel your pain for you.
Oh, you feel the pain, but in addition, you're just like, God, will somebody lay this dude?
Sure, 100%. Yes.
The other end.
I'm not going to lie. I'm completely.
You're like, to all the ladies out here.
Seriously, guys.
I have to listen to this.
Absolutely.
You're like, I'm the woman that has been listening to this.
And he's fine. Like, he's going to treat you well.
Oh, yeah. I am going to pay.
He'll pay, right? Despite all of the,
the chatter on the streets.
Yeah, and all of the nomenclature, like words like plowing and shooting loads and all of that. He's going to be very, very polite about it.
We're not making any moves until...
He listens to Taylor Swift, for fuck's sake. Like, right? Jesus Christ.
'Tis the damn season.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to treat a lady right.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Ladies, line up quick. Time is ticking.
You may submit your applications to our Facebook or Instagram page by searching for the Catch the Sky podcast. If you feel more comfortable working with Dick, you can find her on Instagram at the Dick Francisco or on Twitter at I'm Dick Francisco. You can find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts, including YouTube. Just be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you're getting our weekly content. Dick, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, submit those apps, everybody. Submit those apps.
We kept the dick jokes to a minimum given the content.
I know.
I was genuinely concerned.
There's always
for the
next
ladies.
time. There's always next time. But see, T, that's because you care about the ladies. You were genuinely concerned about them.
Mm-hmm.
Hear that, ladies? Submit your apps.
I don't even know if I can go back and watch Shyla Stylez ever again.
I know. See, look
I
at you.
didn't know.
And I'm over here wanting to just like, what other? I'm literally looking at a list of dead porn stars right now and getting way too into it. So,
yeah, I bet there's some fine work on that list. There's some masterpieces.
Got me some homework to do tonight.
Thank you, everybody. Until next week, keep trying to push this guy.
Bye.